Hello, I hope you are having a wonderful Tuesday. I really think I'm just going to get right into it today and talk about your marketing strategy plan and our weekly series. Today is about evaluating competitors and determining what, if anything, you want to take from them and what they're doing and what you may not want to. So this is a great time to talk about what it is that you want to do with the company. So is it just a passion project? Is it going to stay small? Is it going to be really big? Who are going to be your competitors now, in the future, today, wherever it is? So I want to start with talking about a SWOT analysis. And I don't necessarily hear about these a lot anymore since, school, because you had to create one, right, for your business degree. At least some of us probably did. But this is actually something that is really important for your business if you really want to determine not only a little bit more about what your company is going to be about, but about its strengths. And weaknesses, obviously, which SWOT, if you don't know, stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And that just gives you an idea of what exactly you should be looking out for in the industry, in your competitors, in your particular niche, whatever it may be. You want to do an analysis on the industry. So do your research, figure out exactly what your company's strengths are going to be. It's kind of like what your differentiators are going to be, right? My strengths are strategy and writing. Some other marketing people's are going to be social media and content strategy. Everyone's got their own niche. Some people want to only do technology. Or only health. So it just kind of depends on what your company wants to be, really. So if you're going to evaluate your strengths, you got to determine exactly what your differentiators are, what the positive things about your company is going to be or is, and what the weaknesses are. Where are the points that people kind of debate whether or not it's a good thing, maybe, or if it's going to benefit certain types of people. Maybe your strengths are for businesses, but not for individuals. So your weakness is individuals. Whatever it may be, determine what it is for your business so that you can actually focus on the strengths, know your weaknesses so that you can combat against them in the best way possible for your industry or your company, and determine those opportunities and threats as well so that you can actually take advantage of the opportunities when they do come up and know the threats are there. So, for example, if you're in a newspaper industry, 10, 15 years ago, your threat, and still is really, but your threat was the digital industry. The internet really would have been your threat. So you have to figure out a way to adapt or not, or double down on what it is that you're doing. Whatever it is, know that you have a strategy for or against these threats to help your company be more stable throughout anything that may come up. So the next is to determine industry-wide or specific to your company. So when you're determining the strengths and weaknesses, you can do multiple. Do one on just the company and what your company's features are, or services or products that it is that you provide, and make sure that you know the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats for it. Or you can do a second one that is talking about the industry. So if you have, if you're in the marketing industry, let's say you're an agency, I don't know, let's say you're let's go with the newspaper company. So if your industry-wide strengths are talking all about politics, that's your strength, and your weaknesses are lifestyle. just make sure that you identify exactly what each individual piece is based on the different analyses that you're doing. So when you're evaluating your competitors, you want to find out what other people in the industry are doing. So if you have a shoe company, you want to figure out what other people in the shoe industry are doing. Maybe you have high-end heels for women. And you want to know what other people in the industry are talking about, what they're presenting, what they're creating, what they're advertising, anything like that. So you start to evaluate exactly what they're doing publicly. Obviously, their social media, their ads, anything that you can find about them that tells you about what their angle is, what their target market is. If you find that you really want to emulate or copy, in a sense, someone else's style or voice, the branding kind of style, that's fine if you do it in your own way. So you don't want to just say, oh, they had this ad and we're just going to plug our name into it. It's not going to work. People are obviously going to know that they're seeing the same thing over and over again with two different companies. Also, probably a copyright infringement. So don't do that. Make sure that you make it your own. It's okay to take the inspiration from these other companies and even other industries that actually might be better, because then you can take the related aspects of these industries and incorporate it into your advertising and social media and branding, so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel necessarily, but you can make it your own. So develop your style and make sure that you know exactly how you want your company to present itself, so that you can present it to other people in the best way for the people that you want to target. That's one of the keys. If you want to target certain types of people or certain areas or certain businesses, whatever it is, make sure that you're going to the right places with the right message. So, for example, on LinkedIn, you're probably not going to talk about your family and your children on LinkedIn because it's more of a professional platform, right? So you do the same when it comes to any kind of strategy. You want to make sure that you're talking about your company in your way with the right platform and the right audience in mind. So, for example, if you have this shoe company that's for executive women or executives in general, you have a male and female line, and you want to market it, you want to put it in a new platform or a new channel. Let's say you've got commercials now, but you want to move into more social media. But you have these executives you want to target. The idea is that if you want to target these people, you have to do your research on competitors. Find out where they are and what's working for them by seeing their engagement. And, if they're a really large competitor, you can see a lot of comments. You can just do your research and start to engage with people and the companies to find out exactly what is working, right? So you can message people and say, hey, why do you like this company? If it's appropriate. I don't know. I've never tried that. Go for it. If it works for you, that's great. If that's your research, that's great. So you want to make sure that you're in the right place. So, for example, with this, let's say you have this high-end shoe company, you're probably not going to go on Snapchat and talk about these business people who are going into these corporate offices, because Snapchat is more of a younger age group that use the app. Same with the new one that's called TikTok. If you are targeting the younger age group with things like singing, like Sony, for example, was one of the first to get on TikTok because they have a music culture. They have this aspect to them that it makes sense and that they're targeting that age group within that platform. So if you, want to be talking about high-end shoes, probably don't go to those platforms. If you want to be talking about music or singing or the younger generation and do fun things with that, and that's your culture, go with those. So make sure that it's authentic to what the brand is instead of trying to push and change in different directions that don't make any sense for you. Okay, so the next thing is be sure that if you do look at competitors and want to kind of imitate and emulate what it is that they're doing, make sure that that ad or that brand is targeting the same audience as you. So let's say with the Sony example, if you're targeting the younger age group and you want to put music, you want to do these things, but you have a high-end shoe company, you probably wouldn't be wanting to imitate a company that has nothing to do with your brand, because you're not targeting the same people. You're not trying to talk to the same people. It's not going to work the same way as it would with another Bose, for example, another high-end or some kind of music industry where it would work for something like TikTok and those types of platforms. So if you do want to imitate a competitor, just be sure that they are the right target audience for what it is that you want to talk to. Okay. Next, the competitors may be using a strategy that you want to compete in. So even if they have multiple different strategies, let's say Sony has a lot of different types of markets that they target. So you could be looking at their TikTok and it could be a completely different way of speaking and presenting itself than if they were on LinkedIn and trying to talk to the executives where they can get their products into their companies, right? So make sure that you figure out what their strategy is for where their platform is. And you can do that in a number of different ways. You can do it just by their website. And there's websites like BuzzSumo and SEMrush where you can actually research your competitors. Sometimes for free. BuzzSumo does a limited amount for free. There's a few other sites out there where you can literally find out what they're competing in. So if you are a tennis shoe company and you want to compete against Nike, I guess I'm wearing Nike now, but if you're a smaller company and you want to figure out who they're targeting and where and how, you can find out what their keywords are by actually doing a little bit of research on these sites and finding out what their target keywords are in different pages and different aspects of their website and even their emails. And you can see what keywords that they're targeting for. So you can start to create a strategy around that particular keyword and say, okay, they're targeting tennis shoes this week. I'm sure they change regularly, but they're targeting tennis shoes. So I want to target tennis shoes, and you're going to write posts about it. You're going to write blogs about it. You're going to talk about it. You're going to post in different platforms about it. But put a strategy around something. You don't have to do it all, especially because it's not going to make sense for your brand. Nike has 1 million different products. You probably only have, 20 compared to their 200. It doesn't matter if you're trying to compete in that space. You want to compete with a specific aspect of it. So you don't have to do all the things, which is also in the strategy series towards the end. So I hope you stick around for that. So when you're targeting keywords, just get the keywords that are going to be seen by your customers, the ones that are ideal for you and your business. And then focus on those with SEO on your website, in your ads. Put those keywords that are making sense for your brand and your target audience for that ad. Put it in those aspects. But I want to make sure, if you've ever heard of the term keyword stuffing, that is a negative term now because Google is smarter than that. They have figured out that is not the way to get seen. That's not the way that Google is going to put your website on top of the search results. So don't do that. Just be very normal in your language when you are putting an ad up or in your website. Use sort of everyday language that people are going to understand, because there's actually about an average of an 8th grade reading level throughout the world. And so you don't want to alienate those people who would still be really important to your business, but not understand a complicated word you put in there, or if you're marketing globally, or even just within Europe, make sure that you don't use terms or phrases or sayings that aren't used globally. So if you, like in the US, in the UK, there are different phrases that we'll use that mean something completely different. The same in Dutch, the same in every language. They have their own little just sayings that you would say, like, I can't think of any right now, but don't use little colloquialisms that are specific and unique to your culture. Because if you're marketing globally, you want to make sure that it's actually going to be understood across the board, instead of just confusing people and losing them from the start. Okay, so fairly short today. I hope that helps in evaluating your competitors. If you have questions, feel free to contact me. My specialty is creating marketing strategies for the small business market. And I look forward to hearing from you. If you need anything or have any questions maybe for the next week, which is on branding, which is always a fun one. So I hope to see you there next Tuesday, also at 1 p.m. CET. So thanks so much, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week.